Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Oh,
Welcome to Read This Way, the first episode of the year.
of the year. Ready to kick it off with a very, very intense scenario there as my
We
computer
were
failed to operate.
down to the wire. If you're new here, we are oh my god, I can't even speak. We are an anime manga podcast, and we have a couple of big announcements for you in this episode.
Big.
One of them, actually, no, we'll save both of them for a bit later. All right, Logan, what have you been reading, buddy?
What have I been reading? So I've been keeping track of, well, everything. Well, I'm trying to keep up with everything. So after watching the Jujutsu Kaisen anime, I got a little bit addicted and started reading the manga. I'm now all caught up to 170 chapters in that, which has been fantastic. I've actually enjoyed the rather wild ride that it's been, even with its crazy timeline choppiness. I don't know if you experienced that.
There was one particular point that just felt very jarring, personally, which was the leading into the Gojo backstory. Is that roughly where you had it as well?
I not really. I wasn't too jarred, but I thought that was actually relatively smooth.
I might have to reread it.
Because when they did it the next chapter. I'm talking about those scenarios where they do it mid-chapter, where they'll be in the middle of a fight, and then suddenly 3 panels later they're an hour later. They're not in the fight anymore.
Can you give me an example?
So the arc where they're at the station. So it's just after the arc you were talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, which one was it again?
Was it the start of the Shibuya arc?
No, it's the end of the Shibuya arc, where they just had the big fight and the
actually, yes, I know
big
exactly
baddie,
where you are. Yeah,
big baddie just releases all these monsters everywhere,
and
then it cuts to them sitting around a fire having a conversation about what happened after that, instead of actually
I do recall. Yeah, that was probably the second big one. I do remember that now.
Yeah, look, there was just a few of those that I came across, but if that was the worst of it, which it was, that was the most jarring of it. The rest of it is just crazy intensity, and
yeah,
I just really enjoyed it, and I cannot wait until they do that my arc to. I hope they do it in film form as opposed to instead of in a series, because I think that would capture that little arc, because it's only like 5 chapters, 6 chapters long.
Yeah, it's not super big.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing issue 0 as a anime adaptation movie soon, actually, and that covers a whole tankobon, so about 5 chapters, maybe.
Yeah, 5 chapters. Sounds about right.
Well, it'd be more like 6, because the first chapter is always longer. So yeah.
In 0, that would be covering that prequel, scenario.
You see, before I forget, how you doing, Steven? But anyway, yes, back to Jujutsu. The interesting thing I found about Jujutsu in the terms of issue 0 was that was the original concept for Jujutsu. So if you read it, you can see a lot of similarities to the re-release of Jujutsu, technically. But it's still canon and incorporated into the series.
Yeah.
Like, are you past? Are you?
I'm all caught up.
Oh, okay, cool. So
Yeah.
like Yuto's introduced into the culling games.
Yeah.
Like directly after the Shibuya incident. So
And
it's not like
the kid that looks like he needs a nap.
the guy that looks very tired all the time. Yes,
Yeah.
the guy with the katana and the really creepy ghost girl attached to him.
Yeah. That's
Mm.
that's going to be an interesting. Yeah.
I can't wait for this
Little-
movie, man. It's gonna be so good.
do you know who's handling it?
I don't. It's not Mappa. I think it's
Oh,
Madhouse
can't be.
actually.
Oh, sorry.
Or maybe they are doing it.
Man, those guys are taking on just a little bit too
So
much.
many jobs.
Yeah. It's starting to worry me a little bit. Well, you know what happens when you spread thin? The quality starts to fall.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, no, they are doing it. It's going to be a 45-minute special.
Nice.
Yeah. It ties in heavily with the main villain because he's still the same. So it's basically a prequel and an introductory to the current second years that were obviously first years in the issue 0.
Yeah. Sorry. Do you excuse my movement here?
So
there we are.
Now that you're fully caught up,
yes.
Do you feel that your opinion has been swayed?
What do you mean?
Oh, because you were very on the fence about it before.
Yeah. Look,
it's a weird one.
It's one of those love hates. It's one of those ones that if I'd stopped reading it halfway through, I think I just would have stopped. I wouldn't have necessarily gone back and went through it. So I'm not itching week to week to read this like I am some of the others. It's just there at the moment until something happens, because it's a bit, I think story-wise it's a bit quiet at the moment. They're lining up a lot of stuff, I think.
Fushiguro, though, he's about to do his domain. That's gonna be sick.
I love the fact that they are swinging him to the dark side, something fierce at the moment.
Yeah.
But
then again, he kind of always was.
Yeah. He was always the angry guy.
The series has always been pretty dark. For Shonen Jump, anyway.
Yeah. Hey, man. So yeah, it's definitely it's a series to watch. It's a series to read. But I think it's more of a casual.
Yeah,
it's a casual love for me. Whereas I know there's a lot of really hardcore fans for this show out there, and I think it's because I find a lot of the side characters and the background characters a lot more interesting than the main protagonist, and I want to see more of them.
It's interesting that you say that, because I was actually watching another YouTuber talking about Jujutsu Kaisen and Itadori and whatnot. He's actually an Australian YouTuber. He goes by Grand Line Review and Dude in a Room. He's got a couple of different channels. But anyway, he was talking about how the author has trouble writing what's his name, Yuji, as a main character, and he still actually hasn't fully decided his fate in the story.
He doesn't feel fleshed out at all.
In aspects, yeah, I get it.
It's and he does feel like this sort of character that's been thrown in in an indecisive manner. Like I just need a protagonist to carry this story through. I'll make all these really interesting people along the side as we go to push the story along, but I really don't know why this guy's here. Because when you think about it, he was just thrown in, and I know exactly the direction he's going in. I can see it in the plot. And I don't want to ruin anything for anybody who hasn't caught up with it, but I can see the direction it's going in, and I understand the dilemma he has as to how he's going to handle the other end of that pointy bit, and I feel as though it's almost a Harry Potter style scenario we've got going here. I didn't want to say that, but it feels like he is basically a lamb for the slaughter in some ways.
As bad as it sounds, I kind of do wish that he goes along the route of killing off Yuji at the end of the story. Just, it's kind of what's been set up from the very beginning, obviously, with the whole execution thing. But even before that, with the epitaph of his grandfather when he was passing, and passing on that will to Yuji to not die alone, to live a good life. Yeah. So the story from like issue 1 has been about death.
Yeah.
Hey, Aaron. Thanks, man.
How's it going? Got 2 Aarons.
Not a problem. We do. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. And Yuji, there are aspects surrounding him that I personally feel that there's more mystery than laziness.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I've got a few theories going on. But nothing real substantial sort of thing.
I can't get attached to him. That's the problem there. I'm attached to a select few of the side characters, and I think that's what's pushed me along, is hoping to see more of those characters and see what happens to them. But as we progress along, I progressively see less of them. Oddly
They've been very focused on one character at the moment. So, like, whether it's Yuji, Fushiguro, or Maki, those have kind of been the 3 focal points that we haven't really seen many other people too much since Shibuya ended. But we should probably move on to the next.
Yeah, definitely.
Dun dun dun.
Dun 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 dun. Man,
so good.
This stuff. It's like the crack cocaine version of manga.
I have still yet to be disappointed by a chapter, and we're up to issue 40 now.
Yeah, that's right. And each one is so rich and detailed, and not just in character representation, but in art and the language, in the interaction between the characters.
And the folklore elements.
So much good stuff. This guy's done his research like crazy amounts.
Yeah. It reminds me of some of those like really trippier episodes of like Gurren Lagann, even like some parts of Evangelion.
And when things start to get really weird.
Like really weird, a bit not psychedelic. What's the word I'm after?
You're on kind of on the right track. Some scenarios are relatively psychedelic in their notion. The way they slip between barriers and realities in there is a little bit psychedelic.
It's getting pretty dark too. Like when they start delving into the yokai side of things and what these people have gone through to eventually become these yokai, like some of them are pretty messed up.
Oh yeah. There's no nice backstories here.
No,
this thing is drenched in blood
And I mean,
and sadness. Each time they come across one of these yokai.
Misfortune.
Yeah.
Even, well, I mean, all of our characters really, except for Granny, Gigi, Momo, Okarun, they've all had run-ins with, whether it be yokai or aliens, and it's severely messed them up.
Yeah.
And then you get the backstories. Oh, actually, no, we haven't had Turbo Granny either. We didn't really get much of it.
Oh, we got yeah.
No, yeah, we did.
That was way back at the start. Which
That's right.
I know we're only 40 chapters in, but it feels so long ago because each chapter is full of so much stuff. They just keep running it out, and man, I don't know, is he going to be able to keep this up? How long is this thing going to run for?
That only has like 26 pages per week. They cram a lot of content in there.
Oh yeah. And it's not, the weird thing is it's not a lot of talking most of the time.
No.
There's just a lot of action, but it just moves so smoothly.
Yeah.
And you're right, they just cram so much info in there. Not always.
I really like the world building and the foreshadowing that they do as well.
Oh yeah, stunning.
Like a lot of the time it's done through Okarun. Like he'll just be spouting off something about a particular yokai or alien, and then, well, yokai in the sense of like what are they, like a cryptoid, like Bigfoot and Nessie and all that. But they're kind of tying that in.
Yeah. To as a part of the story, he's always talking about something, because this particular chapter arc that's happening at the moment jumps off the back of them talking about
is it a Tsuchigomo?
Yeah, like a snake demon or a snake god that was had its remains at the temple in that area, and that's what they started talking about.
Tsuchigomo is the giant bull spiders yokai. I'm getting my yokai mixed up. That sounds
wonderful. But yeah, it was a giant snake god of sorts that they were researching while they were there. But it turned out to be something way darker than that. Which is, of course, which involves a lot of suicide and death and
human sacrifice
and torture and all the good things, all the rich storytelling things.
Yeah, I tried. Continue. Sorry,
I was just going to say I loved over the past 2 chapters the background structure. It's like this city that spirals downwards, and as they go down further, they actually go down in generation of design and architecture. Really cool. And it's so stunning. Go back and just read those panels so many times because there's so much to take in.
I did find it. It is a Tsuchinoko, which is a big fat snake.
Yeah. Yeah. Lava snake.
Yes.
Hey,
how we doing, Nikki? Where are we up to? All right. Something that you're not currently up to date with at all. Dr. Stone feels like it is reaching its conclusion soon.
Have they got to the moon yet? You keep talking about the moon.
They're in space.
Oh, they're Dragon Ball Z in the moon.
I mean,
it's taken a really long time to get there.
I mean, they are in the stone world.
Yeah, I know. They had to make their own spaceship, and
I guess they had to reinvent things.
Yes, computers, and where did they get all the gold from for the spaceship?
Mining, duh. Honestly, they've picked up the pace in terms of like time in world. So they've skipped out. There's been a lot of time skips in trialing and error and whatnot to get the rocket working.
Which makes sense. I mean, you could dawdle on that thing for years, couldn't you?
Yeah, and they did. So we're on like chapter 224. I think probably maybe get another max 20 chapters out of it, I reckon.
You don't think they'll push it out to 300?
I don't know. I reckon they might be going for 250.
Yeah, it's a nice solid number.
But it feels like it's naturally kind of coming to its conclusion.
Yeah.
The cast has gotten so big that they, between arcs now, are kind of doing what One Piece is doing and kind of splitting the core cast up so that you only have a select few to focus on. Like for the moon trip, which makes sense, but they're only able to have 3 people go up. Hey, don't rub against that. Yes,
it's helping focus what's going on.
Yes. But yeah, no, it's definitely going good. They do heavily rely on like the shonen formula, but it works. The biggest question for me in the next couple of chapters is whether or not they're going to tie in the special one shot that, well, actually it's not really a one shot, but the Byakuya side story that they retroactively redid. Did you read that at all?
Maybe. No, I don't think I did.
So Dr. Stone did a what was it called? It was called Dr. Stone Reboot. And it's like maybe one tankobon. It's like 9 chapters, and it focuses wholly and solely on Byakuya, the guy who raised Senku, and then the space station after he's already passed away. So it's cool. There is an AI character that Senku made that kind of ends up developing and machine learning and whatnot. And whether or not that character is actually going to make an appearance in the main series, that's what I'm kind of really hanging out for at the moment. More so than anything else. I'm like, is it canon? But I want to know.
Well, it is, isn't it? It's canon?
I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They didn't reinforce it or anything like that? No?
Not really sure. Like, there's been a couple of things, but because, like, it's literal centuries apart, they haven't really, been able to reference it in the main story. So we'll see whether or not there's any remnants of the space station up there. And just got to wait till next week, because the holiday period's been giving us a bit of a dry spell.
One chapter in 4 weeks?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. It's a bit rough. Especially with a few of the other titles.
Yeah. I mean, it's good that we're still getting like some of the Shonen Jump Plus manga. So the tide is over.
I have noticed that. They are pushing along a bit more. Maybe the older crowd.
Maybe.
I don't know if they're older people or they.
Not sure. I don't.
Yeah.
I wonder what the aimed demographic is for Shonen Jump Plus, because they definitely are a lot more lax with what they're allowed to show in terms of violence, gore, sex, just like ecchi stuff.
Yeah, they do push the boundaries a bit more. And there's some good titles on there though. It's where all the good stuff is.
I did end up reading the the first chapter of the dentists.
Oh yeah.
What was that one called again?
Oh, wait, I'll look it up.
Yeah, you haven't been reading it either.
I put it down one week and then
excuse me, dentist, it touched me.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
something
that's
like
the
that.
title of it. Where are you?
So if you guys like, we're not sponsored, although we would love to be. But if you guys want to find out where you can read Shonen Jump manga, there is a couple of apps you can use. Viz has a Shonen Jump app on the Google Play Store and Apple Store. The first 3 chapters are free. The most recent 3 chapters are free, and anything in between is kind of paywalled behind like $3 a month.
Yeah, it's pretty reasonable.
And there's also like a huge backlog, as well as just the weekly released stuff.
Yeah.
And the other one where we read most of our Jump Plus comics is Manga Plus by Shueisha, which is directly from
well, they are the publisher of Shonen
the publishing
Jump.
company.
So the title is "Excuse Me, Dentist, It's Touching Me," which is directly related to the fact that the main female character is actually a man. But great. Some of the writing in that is just so beautifully done, comedic wise. It's because it's a comedy manga. Its timing is just really, really good, and it's a very enjoyable read.
I really liked the placement of certain things, whether it be like a text bubble or a a stream of light. Yeah, like it was pretty campy, but in a good way.
Yeah,
in a good way.
Yeah, definitely all in the right way. So if anybody's out there looking for a comedy manga to read, that's definitely one to pick up. It's pretty early on too.
Speaking of comedy manga,
One Piece.
It's not really well, no, that's next. It's not really a comedy manga much anymore, but Sakamoto Days.
Ah, yes. They have dropped the comedy over the past
4 little chapters. Story arc,
yeah, 4 chapters. I wouldn't say it's little. This arc's been going for a while because it really started with the killers.
Yeah, the serial killer arc kind of tapered it off a bit. Like there were still some really good funny bits, like with the convenience store and the 2 assassins.
Oh, that was
fun.
Yeah. Just that moment was everybody wanted to see it though. Sakamoto's wife just going AWOL. That was
I'm still shocked that they kept String Boy around.
Yeah, I don't know.
Was not expecting that.
I don't know what's going on there, and he would be the worst to try and reform, right?
I mean, you'd think so, but I was thinking about it, and as lovely as like Sakamoto and Shin and Lu all are, they've probably killed a lot of people too, so they're not exactly.
Yeah, but there's a difference between contract killing and killing for the fun of it.
But is he killing for the fun of it, or is he just killing for the connection?
Yeah, he is lonely, right? He's just a lonely boy.
I mean, a little unhinged,
insides.
But
just looking for the insides.
Yeah. No, I can't really defend him. He's pretty messed up.
No, he killed so many people.
He killed his dad, and his dad's just like, "What the hell?"
No,
well,
he's a messed up boy.
I got the order of that mixed up, but anyway.
Yeah. But the action is getting like crazy intense. And the comedies, the comedies dropped right off, and the action's gone to a one hit, one kill sort of scenario. The wrong move will get them killed, and even Sakamoto takes a bit of a hit there in that last chapter. So it'll be interesting to see where this next chapter goes when Old Man comes in. I've forgotten his name.
We got so spoiled with that last chapter, like the perspective shots, the double page spreads, it was so good, and
that's another series that packs so much into what, 20 pages, 19, 20 pages.
It'll be about that, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't get super big ones for Sakamoto, like we do for Dan to Dan.
Yeah, but they just take advantage of every panel on that one.
And yeah, we were only like we're only.
Yeah, it's real early on, isn't it?
That mean roughly it's been around for about a year now.
Yeah, and it's gone through like 4 arcs.
Yeah, probably about that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. The thing that I absolutely adore that we briefly talked about off screen the other day, the use of killing intent is so good.
And if they ever make an anime out of this,
they've got to. They've got to.
Yeah, but you're right. That killing intent. That's that one panel where you actually see them kill the other person is just, especially when they put it at the end of the page, and you have to turn the page to actually find out whether it was. I often find myself going, "What happened just there? Is this?" Yeah,
I remember the last, because we've gotten the last 2 that I remember is the most recent one with the guy who threatened Sakamoto's daughter.
Yeah.
That was cool. But the one that stuck with me before that was during the invasion to get Lou back from Shin's science lab that got taken over.
Oh, yeah.
There was a guy sitting in the middle of a hallway and everything was like super scratchy and black, and it just had such an intense aura around it that even Sakamoto was just like, don't know if we're gonna mess with you. Like, so good. Nothing like they didn't show the any of the like the death scenes that they usually do with the killing intent. This one was just like pure oppressive rage.
Yeah, don't go near that person.
Yeah. He dangerous.
Yeah, don't poke the bear, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I can't wait to see how much further they push this one. And
it's definitely going to be sick.
It's going to be a great series, just full stop from start to finish.
I hope it does get an anime announcement soon, even if it is a couple of ways off.
Yeah, it'll be a couple of years off, I reckon. They've got to push up to 100 chapters, I reckon, before they'll get an anime.
Yeah.
Got to have enough content for at least one season.
Are you kidding? I think they could get a full season in now.
Yeah, that's really strange, though, isn't it? You know, some manga. So you take say Kaiju number 8, right? Which is where are they up to now? So they're 54 chapters. I reckon they'd struggle to do a first season at the moment.
12? I reckon they could do 12 episodes.
Maybe. 12 maybe. But
and that's including like the last chapter that we just got.
Yeah.
Just real briefly, because we'll circle back to Kaiju. Yeah. I want to know whether or not the old man is mumbling or speaking a different language.
I think he's mumbling.
I don't know. It's just squiggles, but it's squiggles in like the writing form of Japanese. So I'm thinking that it is mumbling.
I think he's just mumbling.
He's just a super old man. You all whippersnappers, get off my lawn.
Out of my way, or cut down a building. Oh man, the way he opened that door, it was so good. Who opened the door like that?
Stabs, pushes down. Oh man, it was so dumb. Love it.
It was just it's gotten so, and I'm going to use the magic word here. It's gotten hard boiled, man. These past few chapters,
it's very
all the characters have just really they've really boiled down and become something quite impressive. I think,
it's definitely a winner. If anyone's still sleeping on it, don't
know.
just
Catch up,
don't
jump on that bandwagon and get it moving, because it'll be a quick read for you. You'll enjoy every chapter, and you'll be taken on a relatively quick journey, especially if you're a fan of
action comedies,
and we're talking like old school Hong Kong hard-boiled action,
Rush
Chow
Hour
Yun-Fat movies. I
that
was going to say Rush Hour, but
I did say Rush Hour.
you said Rush Hour, but I don't know if I'd go in that direction.
I mean, Sakamoto is definitely more hard-boiled than Rush Hour, but it's got that feeling of like the kung fu, the cops versus the bad guys, except it's ex-assassins versus current assassins.
Retired assassins.
And I was trying to balance that action with the comedy, because like there's a couple of like hard-boiled stuff I can think of, but they're not really funny.
Not the way this is. This does comedic beats and action timed so well that the only actual lull I've experienced during the series was that casino scenario, which was
only like 2-3 chapters.
Yeah, 2-3 chapters max. And that was the quietest it was. After that, it's just, I wouldn't say non-stop, but it carries.
Personally, I enjoyed the casino section for what I think it was. And it was basically a palate cleanser. We hadn't really had a break since it started. It was just go, 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 go. Like it starts off with Shin being an assassin, and then you get the dude with the bird, and it just keeps going and going and going. And then we didn't really stop until, I mean, it was Lou's backstory too, kind of. Like we still haven't gotten a full one off her. We've got bits and pieces. Covered.
I think we got a good idea of what's going on there.
I think it's just that with Shin, we've got more information going on, and it was a dedicated arc. Whereas
it was
with
Lou, it was a long arc.
With Lou, we had the introduction, and then we had the mini little arc with the casino, and that's kind of been about it.
And let's face it, she is the comedic relief.
Yeah. I adore her so much, especially when she drinks methylated spirits.
Oh man. So she performs a drunken style kung fu, drunken fist, and the more potent the alcohol, the more
well, I mean, it varies her state.
Intense, yeah. So she turns into a full-on 100% kung fu grandmaster if she devours, alcohol that would actually kill the majority of the population.
She should be dead.
Yes.
I think the only reason she isn't is because of how much of an alcoholic she is.
Yeah, that's all she does. She doesn't drink water.
Like that last time she did it when she drank the metho. Actually, I think it was kerosene or something. It was something real bad.
I'm pretty sure it was methylated spirits. It was like 98% alcohol or some shit, just cleaning stuff.
That was pretty cool. Like she went from drunken fist to absolute badass.
Yeah.
So cool. Love Sakamoto.
So good. Bouncing up Sakamoto, we go to
One Piece.
One Piece.
What else?
It's always going to be One Piece.
It feels like I know I keep saying it, but we're coming to the conclusion of Wano. The enemy soldiers are kind of like dropping like flies, but we're getting pretty close.
Yeah.
And
getting ready for the big epic battle.
Man, that's been going for like the past 10 chapters. Probably longer, actually. But I mean, so every year at Jump Fest, Oda releases a letter teasing what's to come in the next year, essentially, and saying what he's excited about. there's a new movie coming out. There's the end of Wano, and Oda has stated that there is a particular scene that he has been dying years to put onto paper, and so I am very excited. I don't care what it is. Like the pages that he's stated as being his favorites, I'm ready. Bring it on.
Yep.
I'm hoping for some more lore drops as well. Like we've had a lot of action, but I want some more. I want some more lore drops.
Need that world building.
I need that world building. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's what that comic's all about, though, isn't it? That thing is just 100% world building.
It's world building and crack.
And he just throws so much randomness, but not structured randomness.
He's so good at making everything connect.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what I see probably being the biggest thing is the connection of different elements that interact repeatedly through the story. That's good world building to me.
Yeah. No, that's when things connect back to other things. Yeah. It's a premeditated system, and we all know Oda he's basically got this whole thing written in his head, doesn't he?
It's 50-50. Okay,
he knows where he's going. He just hasn't written it yet.
All right, he does the typical thing where he gets a really good idea, implements it, and then locks himself into 4 years of storytelling. So like the first, I guess, big scary villains that we come against, like the 7 warlords of the sea. So like Crocodile being one of the first main really cool villains past the like in the Grand Line. Complete accident. Oda just decided 7 was a good number. Added in 7 warlords and locked himself in for like 1, 2, at least like 3 big arcs.
Yeah.
Like 2 of the biggest arcs are Warlords of the Sea. And because it was meant to be Grand Line straight to the Emperors, which we're only just getting to the Emperors now. 25 years of One Piece.
Yeah. And he's sitting there going, I think I'll just add a little bit of, too much.
10 years.
Dang.
Yeah.
No, that's good, though. That's good.
It's
pushing forwards, and you'll no doubt get your world building soon.
Oh, man. I'll quickly touch on Black Clover because that's kind of cool. I do think that that's also coming towards its endpoint for its current. It is a very nice combo shirt. It is, it's getting real cool. Have you read any of Black Clover?
I have not read any, and I'll be honest, it never piqued my interest, as most fantasy things don't.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for the swords and magic.
Yeah, there's certain types of fantasy I enjoy, but the magic and the sword and sorcery fantasy I'm not a huge fan of. Your classic Lord of the Rings and that sort of stuff. I'm just not in that headspace a lot of the time. Yeah. Conan, that's fantasy to me.
Yeah, it definitely leans more on the magic side of it. Like, not a lot of people use swords.
But you always see in all the advertisements, you're just like, swords everywhere. He's always got a big black sword.
But oh yeah,
he just never.
He has a sword. That's about it.
He just carries it around. So how is Crybaby Clover going?
It's pretty good. I hope that the mangaka is doing well. He recently, in like one of his after page things in the Tankrobans, came out and was saying how much he is, how much of a crybaby he is, and I think that was his way of sugarcoating the industry. Not to put words in his mouth or anything, but it's a pretty rough job to take on over there.
Yeah.
Even with the extra support. But it's consistently knocking it out of the park. Like it's a very fun read. Like you said with Jujutsu for you, it's fun. I enjoy it, but I'm not super duper eager for it every week like I am
Yeah.
One Piece or Dun.
Yeah.
Another quick little shout out. Dororon is looking is looking not too bad.
I was pretty soft on it first up, but I've been enjoying it.
It's grown on me. Yeah.
I think the world building just needs a little bit more, but I think they're heading in the right direction.
I mean, they're only what, like 5 chapters in.
I know they're not even 10 chapters yet.
Yeah, it is 5. Like,
I guess that's a good representation of it, that it's starting to pick up a bit of body, because I'm going, give me more.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying I'm not going to worry about it. I am actually picking it up and reading it every week.
As opposed to like that first week where I was like, we'll see. But
really on the fence.
I was going to compare it to Ayashimon, but personally I can't do that because I am a fanboy of Hell's Paradise. So it doesn't matter what this guy does. It's going to be like above.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. So anybody out there who doesn't know what Hell's Paradise is, it's a title from Jump Plus, so one of the more adult titles, and it is
quite considerably
a wild ride. It from like the third chapter in, it just goes from 0 to 100 and doesn't slow down. It's just non-stop. And I'll tell you now, I've read the 115 chapters I'm up to now over the past week and a bit.
Would you say that it kind of almost sits in that like a battle horror genre?
It's definitely in the horror genre.
It's got those elements, but it's also a battle manga.
It's very much a battle manga.
Yeah.
But it's also a mystical. I'd say it's more mystics than horror. I mean, some of the stuff is very sort of body horror oriented, but it's not actually like tense horror.
Yeah, there are some pretty tense moments in it, though. I will give it that.
But that's more related to the action and the interaction between the characters more so than the environment and the enemy. It's there are some pretty crazy, weird.
Honestly, from memory, because I read it last year, probably around this time when it was wrapping up, when its anime adaptation got announced, which should be this year, I hope. Yeah.
I wonder who's doing that then.
Hopefully not Mappa, only because they've got too much on their plate.
They couldn't possibly. Not now.
Well, the head of the samurai that comes over, that guy scares me. He's probably I think he was probably the only character that actually kind of unsettled me, and it was just that myopic sense of justice.
He was like he's like an evangelist.
Yeah. Like the woman from The Mist.
From The Mist.
You remember in the convenience store that they're stuck in, and there's the super religious lady that starts becoming unhinged. And have you seen The Mist?
When was that released?
2000s.
Probably not.
Like
Actually, no, I don't think
Stephen
I do.
King.
I'm not a King fan.
Oh,
I
all
find
right.
him
Well,
boring.
you should watch The Mist. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I will.
No, you
Cool.
won't.
Too
Fun fact:
busy.
Half-Life, the PC game by Valve, takes inspiration from Stephen King's The Mist.
Really?
Yeah, it's loosely kind of based in the same sort of universe. So the idea,
alien worlds and
yeah.
we're talking Stephen King here, so yes,
yeah.
Of course, there's games.
So we're getting very off track here, but I like
Yes.
The Mist. So, so The Mist rolls into town one day. It's just like this small American country town that has a science facility just on the outside. Now, for anyone familiar with Half-Life, there's a science facility just outside of town that goes into a critical meltdown after doing experiments and opens a portal to a different world, whether it's universe or planet. I can't remember. I think it's planet. But,
yeah, I think it's planet. Pretty sure it's planet.
Yeah, and all of these things just kind of like monsters just flood out. And they're like weird tentacle giant things. It's weird, man. Like creepy stuff.
I love creepy stuff. Fine, I'll give it a whirl.
I hope the movie actually holds up because I haven't watched it for a very long time. I know that there is a TV series, but I haven't watched it. So anyway, moving back onto manga and anime.
Move it back. Where are we at? I guess we'll lightly touch on Kaiju number 8 because it's not actually a lot that's happened these past couple of chapters. We had
since our last episode, there definitely has.
Wow, there has been a finish to that big boss fight that went down.
I mean, that reveal that we got in the last chapter.
Yeah.
Not the last chapter just gone, that the one with the death.
One just before. Yeah.
Those 2 chapters, man.
Yeah, they laid out a lot of info.
This feels like the end of the first arc to me.
Yeah. Has anything actually felt like an arc yet?
I mean, the whole introduction of Kafka to the military, I can't remember what they're called, Kaiju forces.
Yeah.
And that whole process, I would consider that an arc. It's a big arc, like it's about 50 chapters, but it hasn't really felt. It feels like it's hitting beat by beat as opposed to like having a big story arc.
Yeah, it feels like it's just going from. It almost feels like it's going from chapter to chapter at the moment.
It's like scene to scene.
Yeah. As
opposed to like this. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to chop it up.
That's what I mean. It doesn't feel like it's a solid arc. You can just go, this happened during this period of time, and this happened. Whereas it just feels like it's about him with these powers and getting used to the powers.
Yeah,
that's the arc, which is essentially the whole premise of the series. Yeah.
I mean, if they were ever going to end a arc, I would think that now would probably be a good time to do it because of that major event. And it feels like when you reach towards the end of an arc and you get that feeling of like that, almost like an epilogue. It's almost like that downtime before the next arc. That's what this feels like to me. So I wouldn't be surprised if they take maybe another 1 or 2 chapters and then we're back into the swing of it because we don't get a lot of cooldown time with Kaiju.
No, it's really felt like just nonstop action.
Similar to Dandadan.
Yeah, but just with not as much content. The chapters always feel a lot shorter.
They do. There's a lot of action going on.
Yeah. And they love their double page spreads and their big panels. Yes. Yeah. the artwork is indisputable. It's fantastic. It's beautiful to look at. It's got a
really
particular
is.
design element that makes it different to everything else. So, it's very clean compared to, so Dandadan and Kaiju number 8 are probably the two cleanest manga
Yeah.
currently running. Everything else
Yeah.
feels a lot scratchier, a lot sketchier in art style, which is fine. It suits a lot of the platforms really well. Jujutsu Kaisen is always a little bit janky to me. And when I say janky, I mean it in a lovingly term. It's not that there's anything wrong with it. Things just feel a little bit askew, which matches the topic really well.
Yeah. It's not. I mean, yeah, it's not as clean.
Yeah.
The lines aren't as perfect, which is like you said, is fine.
Yeah.
I want to quickly talk about a 20-year-old manga before we wrap up. So recently, I got you to watch Beck Mongolian Chop Squad on Funimation or whatever.
Yep.
What were your thoughts? Because
I powered through that, man.
I just went through that. It's a bit of a slow burn at the start, but man,
it isn't. So it feels like it starts off like a slow cooker, but the characters just capture you.
Yeah.
And the way the characters interact, and the way the characters interact with each other is what captures you. There's no real action or drama. There's a little bit of drama here and there.
There's a lot of drama in the manga.
Okay, so look, there's drama.
Okay, so continue. Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry. I meant a more dramatic drama than the drama you're talking about. But the interactions between the characters really draw you in. The music, the music's not bad. I didn't mind the music in the anime. It was different to what I was expecting.
So, fun fact: the band Beat Crusaders that did the opening, I believe, wrote the music for the anime, but they got the voice actors to sing the lyrics instead of. Now, you watched it in English, didn't you?
I sure did.
Yeah. So I think it's obvious that they got the English voice actors, but I'm pretty sure they did the same thing with the Japanese release as well.
Yeah.
Beat Crusaders are pretty good.
I should go back and actually have a listen to the sub just to compare differences.
Yeah, I think I'll have to as well because I haven't watched it in a very long time. However, I have recently started reading the manga. If anyone's gonna be interested in a music anime or music manga, I would recommend Beck. Only because it has such a passion behind it.
Yeah.
The character, it's nothing but a character-driven show or manga. And the characters are so well fleshed out. Some of them you'll hate, some of them you'll love like normal, but a lot of them you'll ebb and flow with just like a normal person because they're that fleshed out. There'll be times when the main character will do something super stupid because he's a 16-year-old boy.
Yeah,
and you'll sit there and you'll be like, why are you doing this? You're getting in your own way. But man,
which is a testament to the writing, isn't it? It's and you're right, and the characters are so well fleshed out. You can feel the passion that they have for the music and everything they do. It
so descriptive
through. And when I was watching the anime, that scene when he goes up on the main stage by himself.
Oh, at the sound festival.
Yeah, I almost got up off my seat and just went whoa, because it was just a moment. It had so much electricity behind it.
And he starts
and
singing the Beatles.
the Beatles, and he's doing a cover of the Beatles, and he's like, this is, and the way everything falls into place in that scene. Oh man, I loved it so much.
Man,
I
it's
really
making
did.
me so happy to hear you talk about Beck. So
it is just enjoyment, pure enjoyment.
So it was a manga that started in the late 90s. You can very much tell when you start reading it. Progressively, it does, the art style starts to change and refine a bit, as all manga do. But it feels like there is quite a drastic shift every now and then. The manga was a monthly release, so it's big chapters, like 60 pages each chapter, and there's 100 of them. And the anime only covers maybe a quarter, maybe a third. And it is really fun just to live with these characters. Like you end up feeling like they're your friends. It's that well written. I'm overselling it now, but I don't care.
It's a title worth people worth. It's just anybody can pick this up.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter your interest. I don't care if you think you would enjoy a music manga or anime. It's not even the point here. The fact is you'd be experiencing something.
It's passion.
That's right. That's what
it's
it is.
Pure
it's passion for a craft, and it will make you want to pick up a guitar. It'll make you want to sing a line or whack the table like you're playing the drums. It's just got that passion behind it, and it's infectious.
I would say everyone, if you're going to take any recommendation off me for anything that isn't a battle manga, Beck. Watch Beck, and if you enjoy it, continue reading it. And pro tip, listen to the soundtrack while you're reading it. That has been one of the coolest things that I've been able to do while reading the manga, that I haven't been able to do for a couple of the other music manga that I've read, which isn't many, I'm not gonna lie. But there's something about just like the closest thing you get to an action scene is them playing a live show, and you get quite a few pages of that. So like while you leading up to it and they're doing their sound check on your phone, just play one of their music and just start just slowly flicking through, and it just brings it to life. And I wish it had fully got its like full adaptation, because it gets really interesting. Like it gets pretty dark. Like it deals with alcoholism, murder.
Well, it does kind of, it does. Even in the anime, it does touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, murder for money specifically. The dark underbelly of the Japanese entertainment industry, and the dark underbelly of the American industry as well. One of the main characters has a guitar that has like 8 bullet holes in it.
Yeah, it's such a cool guitar.
It's so cool.
The fact that the lore behind that guitar is almost like 70%
its own story.
That you should watch it just so you can find out about that.
Also the dog, Beck.
Yes.
So the whole namesake is about this dog that is like a patchwork dog. And Koyuki has 2 life-changing moments. One, and this is the reason why I think it's such a good introduction into the world of rock and roll and those sorts of genres, like the heavier punk and a lot of the indie scene. Is Koyuki is your portal into that world. He, prior to this, was a super normie. He listened to idols and
pop music and all your general
pop music,
stuff.
just conveyor belt music. And then the girl that he likes plays him the music, and it changes his mind. Like he's never ever heard anything like this. And then later on that day, he saves a dog that's being picked on by kids. Later finds out it's because it looks like a Frankenstein dog. And then meets the owner, and the owner's way of thanking him is basically getting him into music. They end up forming a band and try and make it big. That's the whole premise. And it's so far it's spanned over 5 years. So it starts when he's 14, and currently where I'm up to, Koyuki is just about to turn 19. So it gives you a very good look of how, I guess, a garage band in Japan starts out, and it gives you a comparison to that to how America bands start out, because garage bands, Japan doesn't have the luxury of that. They have to go to studios where they pay money and rent the space and play. So that there's a lot of talk about whether or not that stifles the music industry, and specifically the indie scene in Japan. And maybe Japan should just focus on emulating the music that comes out of the West. It's really interesting stuff in there. I don't know, man. I don't know how much else I can try and say this without like.
Well, you don't need to. It sells itself, really. So
so final thing. If you guys like the video, please give us a like. If you guys want to comment, obviously leave a comment. But if you want to comment on the videos and have a shout out or spark discussion with us, jump on every second Wednesday now at 8 p.m. We're doing 2 shows a month now. So we won't be here next week, but we will be here the following. So tune in for that. That is announcement number 1. Announcement number 2, however, is Logan, you're creating a book.
I am.
Specifically a comic book about frogs.
A comic book about frog people.
Well, amphibians.
Yeah, kind of like lizard people, but frog-like.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah. Tell you about it. Right.
Yeah.
So the title of the comic is Amphibia Noir. So we're about to release it on a Kickstarter in Feb. It's a story that takes that takes place in a relatively dark world where violence is almost an everyday normal. The story itself is, I'm sorry, I'm going to be really a little bit convoluted here, because if I release too much information, you'll know exactly what it's about. So it's a bit of a murder mystery slash government conspiracy kind of environment, with the backdrop of a semi sci-fi world with frog people and a lot of gangs and general underworld wars and that sort of stuff. So there's a lot going on.
It gives me, from what you've shown me and from what I've seen, it looks kind of like a gritty spy thriller. Would you say that kind of?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. I'm taking elements and influence from so many different areas. It doesn't really have a genre so much out of yet. So it won't be relevant about what kind of genre it is for another probably a couple of issues, I think. But at the moment, it's all you really need to know is it's gritty as hell. It's violent. It's going to be fun to read. That's what I'm really aiming towards. I'm trying to make something that's really fun to read. It's full of characters that you want to go back and visit, and details that you want to go back and look at. as opposed to just reading once. I want to make something that's enjoyable more than once. So, and on top of that, it's full color. I've gone from doing black and white to full color, which is a ton of work. I even have samples.
Oh.
I have samples. So I just got the first few pages there, which is
that is very nice. Hang on. Let me see if I can do this.
Oh, that's you.
Go.
That's
there
me. So that's just some colors there. So I've got a lot of tone work in there and stuff like that. But there'll also be a lot of sort of brighter colors and that sort of environment in there. That gives you, no information whatsoever on those 3 pages. It's fantastic.
No, that's good. I want the surprise.
And it's almost completely done, by the way. So when the Kickstarter kicks off, I'll actually have a full fleshed out comic book. And nice. I've even started doing the story for the second one. So it's pushing along really, really well. And I'm enjoying reading it as I push along, which sounds a little egotistical of me, but the characters are my friends. So
I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta be making something that you enjoy. So personally, yes. I go through and read the comics that I've made, both objectively and for fun occasionally. But I mean, if you don't read it, who will?
Well, that's right. No, that's a very good point. If you pick up one of your old titles and you don't smile when you read it, you clearly weren't in the headspace for it at the time.
Yeah.
Most of the comics I've produced in the past, which are ash cans and self-publishing sort of titles, they've always been fun stuff, not well polished, but fun. And a good read to go back and read over. So that's the plan. So keep an eye out for it.
Admittedly, I'm probably one of your biggest fans, Logan. So.
One of my own fans.
That's a bit different.
Okay.
On that note,
maybe not.
Alrighty, guys.
Wait a minute. Okay.
What's up?
Sorry, I just realized what I'd said.
Yep. Alrighty, guys. I think that about covers most of the stuff that we're going to talk about this week. Again, remember to like, comment, subscribe. Really helps us out. Check out Logan's Amphibian Noir on Kickstarter. The link is in the comments section down below, wherever it is you're reading it.
Yep.
Watching it. And we'll sign off with a little teaser of Amphibian Noir.
Ooh.
Alrighty, guys.
Tease me.
Read This Way, signing out. Again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.